Have you ever met someone and even though your gut, your body was like, something is off with that person. I don't think this is working. And you still went along. You ignored the red flags and went along on the next date, or you've received an offer at work or an opportunity where you kind of like had this knowing, that inner knowing or inner feeling of, it's not like what I would really, really do, but I think it would look good and it sounds good and sounds like a great opportunity. So you went along with it. And then both ways, like meeting that person, going along with the opportunity, you later down the track realized, shouldn't have done it. And all that guilt comes in. You're just like, why did I do that? Same. I can relate to that. And this is a topic that we are going to explore today. But before we're going to get into it, at Pleasure It with Patricia, let's land, let's connect, let's take 3 conscious breaths together. So we're going to breathe in through our nose, deep into our body, and we're going to sigh it out. Big breath in and release. This is our little moment of really being in our body and taking some time to release. So I'm going to take another breath in through the nose and release. And we're going to do one more and give yourself full permission to lean into it. You might want to move. You might want to have a hand on your body. You might want to soften your shoulders and your jaw and really voice it out, whatever feels good to you. Kind of take another breath in through the nose and release. Let's shake it out too. How are you feeling? Those little shifts can have such a huge effect on our body, on our energy. And while we speak about our body, today's topic that I would like to bring you a little bit more of an insight into is something that I've recently discussed within my Pleasure Lit Woman program, where I guide women through from that high functioning pattern to becoming radiant, regulated, deliciously turned on to become the Pleasure Lit Woman. And something that I have really come across again and again within my personal life. Something that just really keeps showing up because this is something that we do on the daily. Like, it's a daily practice, really. And that is your embodied decision making. It's your embodied yes and no. Exploring what is actually your body's yeses and your body's no. And something that comes really up again and again is that this shows up really strongly when we meet someone new, a new person, if that's dating or a friendship or a work colleague or someone who just pops into our life. And when there are opportunities, specifically also when you run your own business, solopreneur, entrepreneur, and there are opportunities coming your way. How do you make those decisions? Are you someone who's very much logic and does decisions from your mind, like efficient data and just very much to the facts, and this is what should be doing, like this is what's expected of me, this would look good, sound good, and it's very much like mindset? Or are you someone who's actually checking in with their body? It's like, how does my body feel about that? What does my body say to this? And then exploring your body's yes and no and taking that into considerations when you do your decision. Because let me tell you, I have been a woman who's done a lot of decisions from her mind, a lot of decisions from what I should be doing. And that is, as a high functioning woman in recovery, something that I have learned very early on in childhood, becoming the caretaking girl, the one who's taking care of everybody in the family, the good girl, achieving, performing, and doing more and more and more. And the strong one, meaning I attended to everybody else's needs, making sure everybody else was happy, becoming the people pleaser, the one everyone was relying on, the one who's holding everything together and just doing more and overriding herself to the point that, I wasn't even sure of what I actually want myself. I did not know what is my body's yes and no. I just went along with then what is either expected of me or sounds good, facts, data, and doing my decisions instead of tuning into my body, because I did not have that connection to my body. I was completely disconnected from my body. I was overriding it. And because I was doing everything for everybody else, I was overriding myself. I put everybody else in front of myself, made everyone else a priority. And then if you do that over years and years and years, you lose that connection to yourself. You lose the self-trust. You're not trusting yourself, because how can you if you are attending to everybody else? And if you're saying yes to things that you actually want to say no to. And that could also be in the past, and as a caretaking girl, the nurturing girl, the good girl, is that no that you wanted to say, you couldn't say because it would have gotten you into trouble. It would have had consequences. You could have been punished. It could have really been meaning an unsafe situation. So you did say yes. I said yes. I said yes to seeing some people that I wanted to say no to, but it kept me safe in that moment. And then if you continue to do so and learning to just like saying yes and yep, you're overriding yourself. So I was completely disconnected, shut off, didn't trust my own body. And then years into the DV, marriage and relationship, eventually making myself then a priority, breaking out of it. And then I was faced with, who am I? Like, what do I want? What are actually my needs? What is something that I actually truly desire and want? And where are my boundaries? Because I've only learned to accommodate to everybody else, I totally lost the connection to myself. So I actually had to first tune in and explore my own body's yes and no. And that took me some time with trial and error. And I'm one who's living highly in lived experience, guiding and teaching from lived experience as much as I've also learned and studied. But I've been through it, that I have then eventually started to explore my yeses and nos, and still said yes when I actually meant no, to the point where I then realized, that was my no. And I went along, so this is what happens when I say yes, even though I mean no. Okay, how about we change that? How about we honor my own no? And I'm going to start speaking up. And eventually reclaiming my voice, voicing my needs, my desires, also setting my boundaries and saying no when I actually meant no. And saying yes then to the things that I actually wanted to say yes to. And don't get me wrong, there were times when exactly that. I started dating, as I've opened up this conversation here for today. I've started dating, meeting someone, and this time then realized, something feels off. Like where before I completely ignored the red flags, wasn't even taking note of it. Now I started to become aware of it. Something feels off. My body's telling me something. But I wasn't really sure yet what that was or is. So I still went along with it. All right, it's still the next date and the next date. And I'm like, oh, now I know. Oh, that was my body telling me, hey, I don't think this person is for us. Let's take a step back. But I still went along with it. So then obviously you can also fall down that track of having guilt and, oh, I should have known better. But that's part of the journey. You can't expect, when you've been completely disconnected from yourself, out of the sudden to know your body's yeses and nos and honor them, and everything's going to be working out perfectly. So I was learning to actually connect with my body and learning my body's yeses and nos. And eventually to the point that I was, going on a date, something's off. Let's explore that within that date. Asking the questions, noticing how do I feel in my body in the presence of this person, and then honoring it. And eventually also then really standing up for myself and saying, no, this connection isn't anything that I'm looking for. It's not serving me. I'm going to have to take a step back, or I'm sorry, I'm wishing you all the best. Saying no when it isn't serving me. And the same to the opportunities. So I was working just with women, and eventually I was working with men and women. Then now back to just women, because ultimately this is what I've always desired. But I've opened it up eventually because someone said, oh, you should work with men and women. Men are also in need of this work. And I know, but the thing is, at the core, I love helping women because this is my own lived experience as well. So I can speak to it so much more in depth and help so much better women who can relate to my own lived experience as well. So eventually I said, I'm going to work with women. And then I had, like, life is testing you, men reaching out. Oh, I've got this issue and I've got this and I'm looking for your support. And I really then had to feel in, like, no, I really want to work with women. So I've closed that door, said, I'm sorry, I'm not working with men anymore, but I can refer you and I've got these resources and da da da. And I closed that door. And guess what happens when you actually honor your body's yeses and nos? The right opportunity, the right people will come into your life. When you say no to the wrong opportunities, the situations, the people that are not serving you, when you say no to those, you're actually making a room for the ones you can say yes to. And not just that, you are actually building a deeper connection to yourself. You are building self-trust in that. You're creating safety in your body. And that's the basic foundation. You should feel safe in your body because this is you. You deserve to be feeling safe within yourself. And not just that, you actually also deserve to experience pleasure. But you can't experience that if you are not actually creating that safety from within. And guess what? Your body's safety is your responsibility. It's yours to create and maintain. And you create that internally, not by externally waiting that someone's going to give you the safety to feel safe. You need to create that. And you create that through body trust, through self-trust, through honoring your body's yes and your body's no, through creating the foundation of the way of how you treat your body, like embodied self-care, pleasure-lit self-care, something that I speak to about in my best-selling book, The Pleasure-Lit Way, is the first pathway to pleasure, is embodied pleasure-lit self-care. Because that is the way you show yourself love. This is how you build trust and safety within yourself. The way you treat yourself, look after yourself, tend to yourself. And that means how you move, how you sleep, how you fuel and nourish your body. It's how you rest, how you actually living with yourself. That is the foundation, because your self-love is the foundation of your happiest, most successful, and most pleasurable life. Quote by Patricia. So this is how you create body safety and body trust. And once I've learned that, everything shifted. I have now created a body safety trust relationship, inner connection and love with myself that I have never experienced like this before. So, and I'm saying that to show you, to let you know that if you are in that current situation where you think you have got no self-trust, no self-worth, no self-esteem, low self-love, I have been there. I've been there exactly where you are. And I know that it is possible to rebuild that trust, to rebuild that love, to rebuild that relationship with yourself, and not just rebuild it, to make it even stronger and deeper. That's what's possible. And that is exactly what we are going through within one of the modules within the Pleasure Lit Woman program, because that's part of the Pleasure Lit Alchemy. It's part of creating the body safety and trust, because we can't build on anything. We can't transmute. We can't work on our blockages. We can't experience pleasure if we are not actually feeling at home in our body, safe in our body. That is the foundation. So I'm really passionate about creating body safety, guiding women through creating that safety from within so they can start to explore their own bodies and yeses and nos, start honoring them, and create that self-trust within them, knowing they can experience pleasure, but they can also experience pain and grief and hurt, that whole spectrum, knowing they've got themselves. Because that's what it's about. Because life will happen. You will have challenges. You can't have one without the other. But knowing you can expand that capacity, the window of tolerance, you can be in that big spectrum of it, knowing you've got yourself. You are safe within yourself. That is so important. And if you are just curious to know, like, I don't even know how my body's yeses and nos feels like, that could be different from one woman to another woman. But over time, you will know, if you start exploring it and if you start listening to your body, how your personal body's yes and no feels like. And then you can make decisions from that place to honor yourself, to trust yourself. And if you'd like to explore that a little bit more in depth, I invite you to join us within the Pleasure Lit Woman program and circle, where we go through exactly that module of creating safety from within. And not just that, we're going deep there. We're going through how you can actually really create the self-trust, the deeper self-love, the foundations of your self-love through the self-care, how you can communicate that, how you can reclaim your voice, how you can have that deeper relationship with self, because that's what you deserve. That is your right. So you can say yes to what lights you up, to what you feel pulled through, the warmth that comes in your body when that embodied yes maybe shows up as that warm excitement, that pulling there, that pulling closer of like, oh, this is, yes, this feels good. I want to do that. And when you feel like, no, that shutdown, that flatness, that heaviness, that tension, the throat like getting dry, but or the gut feeling like someone's boxing in it, your body's saying actually no. Letting, oh, this is my no, like no, and then actually saying no so you can make room for the yes. This is how you're building your self-trust, one experience at a time. because this is how you rewire your nervous system. This is somatic pleasure as your next level nervous system regulation and healing, because this is how you teach your body and train your body and your nervous system that you are safe, and not just safe, on we're going a step further and how you can experience pleasure within your body, safety and pleasure through somatic experiences, because this is how we rewire the nervous system, through one experience, one felt experience at a time, that will rewire your nervous system. You're learning through the body. You're experiencing through the body. We can't sink our way into healing and regulation and radiance and being deliciously turned on. We can't perform our way into pleasure or into safety. We can tell ourselves we are safe, but if our body, our nervous system picks up on all the signals of threats around you and within you, you can say you're safe, but you are not feeling safe. There's a difference. And this is why we're working with the body somatically. So I'm very excited. If that is something that you like to explore in more depth, join us within the Pleasure Lit Woman program at Circle. More details on how to join you can find at pleasurelit.com. I would also love to hear from you. If you feel called to share, has there been an experience, a situation, a moment, or a person that you have come across where you felt like that body's no, or maybe sensed something was off, then you went along and then you later on realized, oh, that was it? If you feel called to share it with us, because I believe that really inspires others and empowers others to tune into their own body's yeses and nos. And this is a way on how we can support each other. And also there's something really powerful behind being witnessed on your journey. Sharing something from your journey has a lot of power. When you've loved this episode, make sure you follow and subscribe to the channel. Give the show a 5-star rating, and also share it along so we can spread more pleasure, more safety into this world. If you would like to access my free Pleasure Lit workshop, you can go to pleasurelitwithpatricia.substack.com. Sending you lots of love and pleasure and safety. Mwah!